Well, we do have some breaking news. Al Jazeera is now reporting that an Egyptian-brokered ceasefire will be announced today between Israel and Gaza. Joining us this morning to talk about the rocket attacks in the Middle East and how they're affecting the San Diegans and this whole situation is Yosi Herzog from StandWithUs, San Diego. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
First of all, so everyone knows you are from Israel.
That's right.
And you have a very much vested interest in what happens over there. Your reaction to a possible ceasefire today?
Well, I think that'd be fantastic. From the beginning of this offensive, which came, up to this year, we've had over 1,700 rockets fired at innocent civilians from the Gaza Strip. So we are going into this hoping to just make peace. Even though we went in with military action, it was to reach what we're having hopefully now, a ceasefire. So in taking out the ability to take more rockets attacking civilians.
But even though there's talk of a ceasefire, it's not in effect yet. It could be a few hours.
That's
Anything
right.
can happen between now and then.
It's not happening yet. And as my prime minister has said from the beginning of this, he said if Hamas, the terrorist organization firing these rockets in the Gaza Strip, would stop firing the rockets, Israel would instantly stop the offensive. We're only doing this because we need people to stop firing rockets at our homes where people are trying to live civilian lives.
Let's talk about the possible threat of a ground offensive. I know Israel is set to move, as they say, your prime minister says, we are ready to do this. Hamas says, no, it's just a threat, and that Israel is looking for the world to settle this situation first. Your thoughts of the possible ground?
Well, I can let you know we're ready for a ground offensive if that's required. Over 70,000 troops have been called up. If I were at home right now, I would have been called up. All of my friends have been called to the army and are amassing in the south if they need to move into a ground offensive.
But a very scary situation because it hasn't gone well in the past to do such a thing.
It hasn't gone well because, of course, with the ground offensive, there's always going to be a greater loss of life, which is always a tragedy and something we don't want. But we need to make a situation where people can live their lives without fear of the average of 3 rockets per day falling on people going about their lives and going to school.
All right, ceasefire is just that, a ceasefire. What do you do beyond that?
Well, here, from the beginning of the operation, my country has managed to take out over 1,700 military targets of the Hamas, like rocket firing facilities and warehouses. So the point of this is not to have an overall peace, it's to slow down the Hamas from firing more rockets at us, to bring that number down. Over 12,700 in the past 12 years.
But how do you do that beyond, say, today's ceasefire?
Well, a ceasefire, again, it's not a peace treaty. It's a longer-lasting, we aren't going to fire for a little while. So that's what we'll take for a time. It's restoring tranquility in the south of Israel for a shorter time, so we can have a longer time of it. So if we can take out their ability, taking out their top leaders, their militant leaders, and taking out their ability to fire rockets at people going to work, then we can have a little bit longer peace. And that's something that I think any government has to do for its people, try to provide a peace.
What's the next level? Does Hamas have to go?
Well, Hamas does need to either go or entirely change its charter. Its charter calls for the destruction of the state of Israel, and it says any negotiation is a futile waste of time. This is in their very charter. So my country remains committed to a 2-state solution, as they've mentioned. They're open to negotiations and talking, and even now we're trying to make efforts so we can speak and negotiate. We just need to have someone on the other side who's not calling for our destruction, but appreciating we want peace for our children like you want peace for your children.
How does this all filter down to folks living in San Diego?
Well, I mean, people here, there's an incredible groundswell of support in the community. Just on Sunday, we had over 40 organizations have a rally in the park at Nobel Athletic Field. Over 1,000 people came to express solidarity and support with Israel. We're actually having tonight Christian prayer rally at 7 p.m. at the Museum of Contemporary Art in La Jolla, of people coming together praying for the safety of lives on both sides so that civilians aren't innocently affected by this.
What time is that and how can people get involved?
That's at 7 p.m. Free entry. We are having the leaders at La Jolla Contemporary Art Museum, and we're having leaders of local churches. The Israel Deputy Consul General of Israel is going to be there. So is someone from my organization. People just getting together and hoping for, even if the ceasefire is called, which I hope it is, coming together praying for the betterment of the lives of everyone involved.
A prayer and hopefully a celebration over a ceasefire.
Hopefully a celebration. We'd be happy to dance over it.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.